Hey, this is Tish Griffin back with you again, and I am here on behalf of Family Credit Management and the wonderful counselors at Family Credit Management that are standing by to help you with your debt, your finances, any issues that you may have regarding budgeting. They're here to help. Use them as a trusted resource. So if you are having issues, if you need someone to talk to about this, because you know what, dealing with debt is not easy. And a lot of times we need someone to talk to. We need to try and figure things out. And we keep so much on ourselves that it is not good for us. But Family Credit has counselors that will listen to you, that will talk with you, that will help you come up with the budget, that will help you deal with your creditors and get you out of debt and on the road to financial freedom. Reach out at 800-994-3328. Develop a relationship with a credit counselor there and get the help that you need. Now, if you don't want to call, we're all becoming more and more tech savvy each and every single day, right? Go online to the website at familycredit.org and you can chat directly with the counselor. Tell them about your situation. If you're looking for budgeting help, if you're looking for credit card help, if you're looking for collection agency help, if you're dealing with payday loans or at-risk lenders, they can help steer you in the right direction. You're not alone. And that's one of the biggest things that I want you to realize, that when you're dealing with debt and finances, you're not alone and you can get the help you need. So right now, the time has come and it is tax season. Tax season is upon us. We are all preparing to file. And a lot of people I know are excited about filing. A lot of people will say, hey, I cannot wait till I get that tax refund. But it's an emotional time for us, right? We just finished the holidays. We're getting those bills in and we're like, okay, as soon as I get my money, I'm going to pay it off. As soon as I get my money, I'm taking that vacation. As soon as I'm getting my money, I'm buying new furniture. And so we become emotional because we've got that anticipation. We're anticipating all of this coming through. We're anticipating whether we're going to even get the refund or not. We know that this is what they told us, but is it really going to come true? So we're sitting and we're on the sidelines and we're just waiting. For many households out there, tax time is like a financial reset button because you're catching up on all those things that fell behind last year. And so that's why I see so many people. I just talked to some people today that were saying, I cannot wait till I can file my taxes. And this is a time that exposes so much more about our finances than we actually realize. For the most part, we were hanging on by a thread. We were waiting for the year to end, waiting until we get to this time. So if you get your W-2s, we're waiting for the W-2s to come in. We're waiting for the 1099s, for the 1098s, and we're ready to file. But guess what? We want to be practical. We don't want to just rush out and count on this money coming through, because guess what? You don't have it yet. So we want to make sure we're filing properly, and we know everything there is to know about our finances, our situation, and our actual household status. So for a lot of people, they think about tax time, they're waiting for W-2s. And I have seen such a huge shift in W-2 employees, or people that go to work every single day, work for a company and get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. They get their checks, taxes are taken out, and they get a W-2 at the end of the year. And with the W-2, what that is a recount of everything that you've made from your employer, put it all onto this form and submit it to the IRS, submit it to the government, meaning that they know based on your social security number how much you've actually made in the course of a year. And for a lot of us, if we are an entrepreneur, if we have a side hustle, if we have patrons or people that have paid us more than $600 in the course of a year for a service, then guess what? You have contracted, or you are considered a contractor. With that case, you still are responsible for your taxes. Now, if you are a contractor 10 times out of 10, taxes are not being taken out of the money that you receive. Taxes are not being accounted for. And the last thing that a lot of us are thinking about is, whenever I get that money, I need to take an amount out for taxes. But that's what we actually need to do, especially right now, because what happens is if we don't take that money out, we end up owing a debt instead of getting a refund. Refunds only come when you've paid into the tax system, when you paid your taxes so much and you've got all these other things going on, you've got deductions that you can get, and now there is an overage. That refund that you're looking at, because of different tax credits, because of the amount that you've put in, because of your withholdings, it's actually a nice sum of money. But if you're an entrepreneur, you don't get that. Now, if you're working a regular job, you're still going to get your W-2. But if you have a side hustle, or if you have your own business, you own your own business, now you're in the realm of contracting, which means you get a 1099. In order to determine your income at that point, for the most part, what happens is you don't necessarily add those incomes together like that. You do end up owing, because out of your 1099 money, you haven't accounted for taxes. Good rule of thumb, if you want to be disciplined and you want to make sure that you don't have to worry about this, every single time you get paid as a contractor, you can take a certain percentage, up to maybe about, let's use 30%, 33%, somewhere in that realm of whatever you get. And you can put that in a separate bank account to account for the taxes that you should have paid on that money. Now, this is just a rough estimate. Most likely, it should be a little high at the end of the year. But what's going to happen is when you go and you do your taxes and you go to your accountant, and hopefully you have an accountant that you can talk to that understands your situation, they are going to go through and say, okay, this is how much you've made for the year, and this is how much you owe in taxes. And you want to have that money sitting on the sidelines, prepared to pay to the IRS. If you do not, there are penalties that come along with owing the IRS. There are fees that come along with owing the IRS. And we'll talk about that a little bit later down the line. But this is a good rule of thumb. Now, for a lot of us, that's not possible. Because when we get the money, a lot of times we're playing catch up. We're trying to hold on. We're trying to just make it so that by the time you get the money, you're stuck in survival mode, and it's not even extra. You may be anticipating a huge check, but it takes 3 months down the line to get there. In the meantime, your bills have piled up for 3 consecutive months. When you thought you were getting in month 1, then you could save some. By the time it gets to month 3, everything is wiped out. Now, if you're struggling with this, if you're struggling with your budget, with trying to make ends meet while you're waiting for things like your checks to come through or to be paid, reach out to a counselor at 800-994-3328 and tell them about your situation. Let them help you make a budget, create a spending plan, and help get things together, because it's going to pay off big time and work in your favor. So, what are some of the realities that we face, though? Because of this, we've got the side hustles going on. We're trying to create multiple streams of income, because if you're struggling, the only thing you can do is increase your income or decrease your expenses. And so when you're doing the side hustles, they become actual contracted work, and you are issued a 1099 for anything maybe over $600 that you are paid out of, or that someone pays you. Another reality that we're dealing with too, in the past, we've been able to work overtime. If you've got a W-2 job, a lot of jobs will allow you to work overtime. But with the rise of COVID, working from home, the effects that all of that had, a lot of jobs right now, they're not allowing for overtime, because guess what? They're struggling themselves. Not only have costs gone up for us, but costs have gone up for the companies that we actually work for. We didn't even think about that. Their bills have gone up. The cost of insurance has gone up. So a lot of times they have to look at their budget, and sometimes those things get passed on to us. Not a whole lot we can do for it, but we are grateful for the income that we do have coming in. And so we have to be better stewards over that. We've got to watch our money. We've got to watch what we're doing, what we're spending, and prepare for the worst. Keep your money in your pockets as long as you can. Watch your spending and be prepared if you do owe the IRS, because you're going to have to pay them back. And they always get their money. It may take them a little time to catch up to you, but they will. So we want to think about that. Overtime is not always allowed. We don't really get bonuses like you used to. You may have switched employers and their structure is different, so you don't have the bonus there. You don't want to rely on those things. So you want to know what it's about. You want to know what you're getting yourself into. You want to know how much you have coming in each and every single month. And then you want to make a plan so that you're not stuck depending on it. Bare bones budgeting is what we need to look at. Then we want to account for the rising cost of living, because guess what? Every day we struggle, but costs are going up. They're fluctuating, and then we might get a little bit of relief, so we're happy, we're thinking everything is good, and then everything goes back up again. That inconsistency creates so much stress, and a lot of times we're waiting for those tax refunds to come in so we can take the money and pay off what we did before. And again, that anticipation, what happens if that refund does not come through? These are things that we want to think about. We don't want to be relying on that money. We want to be appreciative, especially if it does come through, but we don't want to spend so much time relying on that money and then nothing happens or it does not come through for us. And now we don't know what to do. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your taxes. If you are going to file, there's a lot of different ways that you can file, and you can file for free. Go online, find the best service and the best option for you. Read the fine print. Know when you are getting the money back. Know if you are actually, sometimes you may think you're going to get your refund sooner. It'll say get your refund in as little as 2 days after you file if you use our services. And you're like, okay, that seems like a good thing. But guess what? They are charging you because they're actually allowing you to take a loan on the amount that you are supposed to receive as your refund. So now you're getting less, but you're getting your money sooner, but you're paying a fee to them. So you want to weigh your options. Think, hey, do I just want to get my refund at the normal amount of time? And that way I'm not paying extra. I'm not paying any interest on it. Or let me see what else I can do. What service can I use that's not going to charge me a lot? Who can I go to? Do I have an accountant? Do I know someone that'll file this for me? And so you want to be sure that you're doing whatever you have to do to protect your bottom line, protect the amounts in your pocket, keep that money in there for you. Don't pay exorbitant fees, especially if you think you're going to be owing the IRS. The last thing you want to do is add on another debt. Keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you look over your filings and you know your status. You know how you're going to file. Do you file head of household? Do you file joint? Now there's a huge component of filing your taxes where you can file multiple people can file one child. How does that work? How does that benefit you? Will it be a red flag later? We don't know. So you want to sort all of these things out as you file. You do not want to wait till the last minute, because if you wait till the last minute, IRS is going to add fees to what you already owe. And you don't want to go through that. Again, we're trying to be disciplined. We're trying to make sure we get everything together ahead of time. And sometimes if you find yourself struggling, you want to find someone that you can use. You want to find a certified accountant that will help you through these processes. You don't want to necessarily go through the quickest way, all of the little vendors that are out there. You want to find the one that works best for you, the person that works best for you, be it a person of service, or you even want to do it on your own. A lot of times it's okay. It's easy to do. Sometimes they have assistants virtually that can help you, but do what's right for you and don't wait till the last minute. We want to make sure when those funds come back, we're not misusing that money either. That's huge. Again, we're waiting for that. We're anticipating. So it's like, okay, as soon as that money hits, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to buy the purse of my dreams. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to do all of these things when that money comes. But what we should actually be doing, again, is saving, paying ourselves first. See what we can do to increase our own net worth. So save and see how we can grow that money. There's so many different ways for you to grow the money that you have coming in versus spending it and having nothing to show and still being in the same situation or even worse that next month. So I do want you to think about that. Let's look at, for the next year, is there a way for us to make a plan to pay our bills as well? If we've got this refund, what can I use? What can I do? Do I want to get out from under debt? Do I want to pay everything off? Do I want to save? You've got to look at your debt. You've got to look at your budget and see what works best for you. You can reach out to a counselor, 800-994-3328, and go online, familycredit.org, and see what can you do about your debt, your bills, and making sure that you do the best with this tax refund that's coming in. What's your best case of action? And you want to avoid any large spending that you're just getting ready to do. Sometimes we think about, as soon as my tax refund comes, I'm going to buy a car. Do you actually need a car? Do you want a car? If you get a car, is it going to be a luxury one? And will this create to me being further and further in debt? And that's something that we never really think about, because it used to be we could go out and get a car for a couple of $100, right? Easy. But now, just the most, a luxury car, a lot of us go for luxury cars. Even the most basic car sometimes will run about $20,000 or more. So when you're looking at a luxury vehicle, which I know a lot of people do, especially during tax time, because that's when they're running the best deals. They want to get those cars moving, so they're going to offer whatever they can to you so that you come in, you put your money down, you take this car, and you can start paying your $900 car note for a $50,000 car or higher. And honestly, the average car runs about $70,000 to $80,000 at this present time. Do you remember how much your mortgage is? Exactly. Especially if you've had your house a long time. For some of us, there are some people that I've seen where their actual car notes, the actual loan for their car note is more than what they owe on their house. What sense does that make? So we want to make those money smart decisions. We want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can with our refund. And we want to make sure we're not making those large payments or those large purchases that will create large monthly payments. And it's not just about auto loans. A lot of times we may say, oh, I'm going to get a new washing machine. I'm going to put in a swimming pool. These are things that I've heard people say recently. As soon as they get their refund, that's what they're going to do. But how are you purchasing the rest of that? For the most part, we're going to be financing it. What's the interest rate going to be? What's that monthly payment? And can we even afford to squeeze that into our already tight budget? I do recommend, if you're thinking about making a large purchase, do your best to shop around and get the best value for you. You don't want to just settle for the first thing that you come across. And sometimes we might be looking at a certain model, a certain brand, and we know that that's exactly what we want. But the minute that you get there, it's much higher than you anticipated. Do your research, just like we talked about the household staples. See if you can find it at a cheaper rate. Again, if you can't do without it, let's see what we can do to bring that amount down so that it works for your budget. And we don't want to create a monthly reoccurring payment that's going to drain us even more. Want to be money smart, money conscious, and make the right decisions for your budget. That's right. The goal isn't a big refund, it's a balanced year. We want to balance out our year so that we're not stressed, and making those big purchases that lead to big payments does exactly that. It stresses you out, it stretches your budget, and creates a lot of havoc when you just really don't need it. You don't need that stress. So don't do it. Then let's take a few more minutes while we work on wrapping up here. We're talking about the IRS. We're talking about filing our taxes, making sure that we know the right way to file. We're using a reputable way to file, be it we're going to file ourselves or we're going to go get our own certified public accountant. And one thing that I want you to think about too is that the IRS, they are there, especially right now, to answer any questions that you may have regarding filing your taxes. So you can go to the IRS's website at www.irs.gov, and you can get someone to answer those questions for you. You can find resources because there are people that have those same questions just like you do. So they've created a library that you can log on and ask whatever questions that you may want. And then let's take it one step further. If you do this, if you go to the IRS's website, I want you to create an account. And you might say, why would I want to create an account for the IRS? Just like with the credit bureaus, you want to know what the IRS has too. The IRS has the ability for you to see the last 3 to 4 years worth of your work history as far as your W-2s, your tax filings, your 1099s, all in one place. So I recommend that you go ahead and you log in, create your account, and do exactly what you need to do to save that password, download the documents that are there, and make sure every few years or so you go in and you just really save that information. Make sure you have the right information and that you're filing that information correctly. Keep in mind that you may have your W-2 and you're like, I'm not going to worry about the 1099. I know they're going to send me a 1099 for my side job. I may work, at this place. I might be contracted for here. I know they'll send me a 1099. I'm not even worried about it. I'm not going to report it. The IRS knows about it because just like you're filing, companies have to file as well. And if they use you for a vendor, they have to report that to the IRS. So under your social, it's there. So you might as well tell the IRS about it and let them know that you know about it, file it on your taxes, and see how it affects your individual situation. So what happens though if you end up owing the IRS? And I think this is the biggest fear for anyone during tax time. Like, I do not want to owe the IRS. I do not want any red flags popping up. I don't want an audit. I just want a refund. I want to file my paperwork and I want to get the money back, and then I want to go do whatever I want to do. Keep in mind that it is a possibility each and every single year that your actual submission to the IRS gets flagged, and they do what's called an internal review. A lot of times with the internal reviews, when you are flagged by the IRS, they're going to go through what you reported and they're going to see if it makes sense. They're going to ask you for more documentation, and a lot of times if you are getting a refund, they may hold it up until that review is over. For some people, unfortunately, I know that they're waited years for the IRS to answer back. They've gone through audits. They're still not getting their refunds. They know that they're owed money and it's still not there. This is why you should never, ever bank on money that you haven't received. This is why, even though they may tell you this is your refund amount, you don't say anything until you get that amount. That's when you can, okay, let me start planning this money. This is when I'm going to pay this. This is when I'm going to do that. You can make your plan, but don't count on it. You always need to have a backup because a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen, especially when it comes to filing your taxes and the IRS. So if you find out that you do owe the IRS, I want you to know that there's help out there. First off, you have the Taxpayers Advocate's Office. If you're struggling to understand what went wrong, if you want to know what happened, you can reach out to the Taxpayer Advocate's Office online at Taxpayer Advocate. Go to their website, reach out, call them. Their number is 877-777-4779. Reach out to them, get the help that you need, have them review it. And then you know what you can also do? A payment plan with the IRS. The IRS has payment plan options available. Typically what they want you to do is pay the account off as soon as possible. They want you to pay it off right away within a year, within 36 months. But guess what? Sometimes if you owe back taxes, they will allow you to stretch that payment plan out to 5 years or more. But you have to submit you got to follow the proper protocol. You need to submit the IRS form 9465, which is the payment arrangement or payment agreement. You need to base it off of your income and what you can comfortably afford to send the IRS each and every single month. They want to know If you feel like you may talk to somebody on the phone and they say, oh, we need $500 a month, and then, we'll accept that payment arrangement. But if you can't afford that, talk to them and say, I know you need 500, or you're telling me you need 500, but I can only afford 150 right now. They may be willing to work with you and work something out. So always keep that in mind. If something happens, don't ignore the IRS, because ignoring them could make your situation worse. So I know we're all excited about tax time. I want to see that you make the best use of whatever refund it is that you're receiving. And I want you to go ahead and do it the correct way, but be prepared. So even if you feel that you cannot afford to make that payment to the IRS, you know you owe, but you don't know how you're going to make a payment to the IRS, you can't afford a payment plan right now, I still want you to file before that deadline. And then guess what? You can also file an extension. The IRS will let you file an extension. They'll give you more time to file as well, but you've got to make sure you do it correctly. Contact a certified public accountant. Look at how you're going to do it. Look at how you're going to file. And don't panic. But if you ignore the IRS, it's just going to get worse. So reach out and see what you need to do for yourself, because the last thing I want you to do is increase your debt when you really don't have to. There are payment arrangements available. There's options that you have available. The taxpayer advocate is there to help you. And so these are resources. And then if you're scared, you don't know who to talk to, reach out to a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328, or go online to familycredit.org. These are things that you can do. Now, keep in mind, the IRS is harder on silence than honesty. So if you go ahead and you ignore them, things will get worse. You get more fees. But if you call them and say, hey, I know I owe you, but I just can't afford that right now. I can't afford whatever payment that you may have or may want me to pay. And let them work with you. They'll probably send you to a taxpayer advocate to help work out a payment arrangement that fits your budget, or they'll do it with you too. You can ask questions as well. You can say, go to the irs.gov's website and say, hey, how much do you think I might end up paying? Can you help me out? And get the help that you need. Again, tax time, don't go crazy, but I do want you to file before the deadline in April. If you cannot file before then, if you don't have all your tax forms, you feel like you don't have time, you're an entrepreneur and you're still going through your receipts and you're trying to figure out what deductions that you can take right now, file an extension. This will work in your favor. You may even set a calendar reminder for every February 1st. Automatically file your extension. That's what's going to help you. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to familycredit.org or call a counselor at 800-994-3328. You guys take care, and we will see you soon.